Every operating system has its human interface, user experience, or simply design guidelines. Their name is different with every system, but they are a good anchor to start your design with, because you have a reference, and that can often be good as a foundation. But is it sensible to use them, or should you focus more on your own branding? Let's dive deeper into this topic today. I'm your host Chris, and this is the UX Global's podcast. Those that listened to this podcast previously know that there is always one music break in every episode, as you preferred it, and not two. Before the break, I will tell you a bit more about the advantages of design guidelines from an operating system. And after the break, I will dive deeper into the disadvantages of them, which are basically the advantages of using your own branding. Alright, so what are design guidelines actually? Well, they set you some boundaries for the interaction concept of a solution and the visual design. They define what button, checkboxes, switches, dialogues, menus, and many more elements should look like. The idea behind all of it is that they should create a standard across all applications for the operating system, and that patterns repeat themselves across all applications and the system functions. So the user knows how those interaction elements work and do not have to learn the visual design of every single application. That means a user can install a native application on his or her laptop, desktop, computer, tablet or smartphone and immediately knows how the workflow of your application works. A common operating system for smartphones has a burger menu quite often. Every user of this OS knows what this icon is made for, and that it is located most of the time in the upper left corner. If you decide to change the icon and place it in the lower right corner, it could happen that users do not find it anymore. Another element that can be seen quite often is the back button in the upper left corner. This element is also defined in the design guidelines, and users have learned that the back button is in this exact position. Therefore, most of the time, the users can work faster when you use the interaction elements defined in the design guidelines, and are less frustrated if these elements are not in the position where they usually are. That is one of the major benefits for us as UX designers, as the user experience increases automatically most of the time when using the design guidelines. Another big advantage is that most operating system providers also give you a chance to download UI kits for different design softwares. So we as UX designers already have all or at least most of the UI components designed and can use these symbols. Furthermore, generally all default UI elements are already implemented natively in the system. The developers of the solution can also save time and money as they do not have to implement everything themselves. Those advantages sound great, right? However, there is a big but, and I will tell you more about it after the music break. So what could be that big but that could make you not follow the design guidelines? The answer is relatively easy. Imagine you're working for a big global brand and your users are working on multiple different operating systems. In a previous episode, I spoke about how important consistency within a system is and why it is important across multiple systems too. And that is the reason why it is probably sensible to use your own design in this case and not follow the design guidelines. Because the consistency within a system by one brand is more important than the consistency with other apps on the same operating system. That means it is more relevant to make your own software consistent across multiple operating systems compared to making your solution fit to other solutions on the same operating system. All of this is part of your branding. We all know software companies that have developed solutions for multiple different platforms. But no matter on which device you use the solution, the usage will be almost identical on all operating systems. A good example is the gaming industry. Often, when a game is released, it is identical on multiple different operating systems, simply because it is easier for the game developers to design and implement the game. Additionally, in a game, the users often prefer to have the same user interface, no matter which platform they are playing on. I want to stress here that the branding of a company is probably the strongest bond between a user or customer and the solution or a company. So if your company has a very strong branding, you should definitely choose the option of making your own design and neglect the user interface guidelines by the operating system. On the other hand, if your solution is available for only one operating system anyway, you can also use both of them. You can create your own branding that contains the advice of the operating system guidelines. But in the end, it is up to you which option you choose, and you are the one that will know it the best, which option is better for your use case. Always remember the benefits of each approach. For guidelines, easier understanding for users on single operating systems. For your own visual design based on your branding, it is easier for users to work across multiple operating systems. Pick one option and stand for it. It is the same with our personal life. If I made a decision, that decision is most of the time non-negotiable. Stand for what you believe in and fight for it. A saying of mine is, if you want to hit a target, find yourself the perfect hammer and nail it. And with that, I would like to end today's episode. Thanks for your time, and I will be back tomorrow. Remember, always keep pushing. Have a good one.